Yeah, there you go.
Thank you. So let's go back to this employee. You just said they were negligent. You're going to explain that in more detail. Because obviously for 2 years we have video evidence that this crack existed. And from the way you explained it, they do a physical inspection with the snooper actually going down. The picture you have given us shows 2 people on the actual bridge, I imagine doing a actual visual inspection of the bridge. How did this employee miss that? Was it negligent as in they didn't report it? Did they not do the job by showing up? Did the people on the ground see it and it was covered up? Explain in detail how that employee acted negligently to not see this crack in that bridge.
You want to take it? Okay.
Okay, thank you. Great question. Can you hear me? Okay. To just phrase your question differently, and if I'm incorrect, please correct me. How was he negligent in his duties? And the equipment that we use, the snooper, I believe that the video's in that. The way that equipment works for that particular part of the beam is they would drop from the deck down to the beam, and the process is to extend that snooper along the beam so that he can be within arm's reach. Any inspector can be within arm's reach of any portion of the bridge that they're inspecting. Then they would change it around and go the other direction. So the length of that boom, they are to get within arm's reach of every section that they're looking at. What this employee was doing is he was dropping to that point, and if you can imagine yourself standing against a wall and looking both directions, you can see parts of the wall, but not all the wall clearly. He was dropping to that point and then looking left and right, but he was not extending beyond the point of his drop down. So he was not seeing the entire structure as he was instructed to.
So this employee is the actual person who's responsible for being in the snooper, visually inspecting the beam, failed to go up and down the beam so he could actually see the crack, and then report it to RDOT that he had inspected it and that it met no critical failures.
That's correct.
Okay. Can I have a follow-up on a separate issue? Second issue. So on that vein, you don't know the exact cause of this crack yet. Is that correct?
Don't know the exact cause is not known.
Oh.
But we believe it's fatigue, and the failure was at a weld.
So that's an important distinction, because I think what we've seen in the conversation since this has been discovered is this is a funding infrastructure issue, when it appears to me that this is a failure to actually do the job or find the crack and repair it in a good time. What I'm nervous about is the people of Arkansas have given a generous amount of money to RDOT, both through the half-cent sales tax and also through a gasoline diesel tax increase. And the discussion shouldn't be that there wasn't funding to actually repair this, that it was more of a failure to find it, and that is the cause of it. So I'm nervous moving forward that we don't include a larger federal infrastructure package or more money from the state of Arkansas, that this is more about a failure on RDOT to do that because of this employee's negligence in that case.
If I understand you right, that if we had caught it back in 2019, it wouldn't have cost as much, or it wouldn't have been the same. Is that what you're saying? I don't know.
I guess what I'm saying is the discussion seems to be about now we need more funding for infrastructure, when it appears to me in this case it's less about funding for infrastructure, more about doing routine maintenance and catching a problem before it exists. The thought is, if y'all had found this, y'all would have had the money to fix it. Is that correct?
Well, okay, yes, but the crack that's occurring, the fracture, would have taken the same thing to fix it back in 2019 that it is today. And yes, it's going to cost about the same, but it hasn't got anything to do, I guess, this is just a microcosm of our elderly infrastructure that's starting to fail in certain ways. So I don't think it has anything to do, the money that Washington's wanting to infuse into our infrastructure doesn't have anything to do with lack of is it maintenance, as you're saying? If we had maintained that bridge better, we wouldn't have this problem today. But anyway, I guess what I wanted to say, because I asked this very question, would it have been the same remedy, would it have been the same fix back in 2019 that we're facing right now? If we had seen it back in 2019, would anything have changed? And I was told no, it would have been the same thing, it would have cost the same amount of money. So that fracture didn't really have anything to do with anything we could have done to prevent it. It just started happening. It would have had to have been fixed.
Thank you.